All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another great session for our bootcamp on US undergrad admission. And we are very happy today and excited because we have two wonderful institutions with us. And the best thing is that people from admission and recruitment and all the related matters departments, they are here in our session. We have with us today Appalachian and East Carolina University, and we have Cathy Knudson, Assistant Director for International Student for East Carolina University, and Karen Binger Marshall from Appalachian State University, and also David from Appalachian State University. So I'll request them to introduce themselves, and then we can go to the session.
Good morning from the USA. My name is Cathy Knudson, as Mushfiq said. I am the Assistant Director for International Student Recruitment and Admissions. My primary responsibilities are for undergraduate programs and our intensive English program, but I also have a very good relationship with the graduate school. And I've been with ECU for 4 years, 4 years now. And now I'll let David introduce himself.
Sweet, thank you so much. My name is David Stevenson. I am so excited to be here with you today. I serve as one of the Assistant Directors of Admissions here at Appalachian State University in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. I work primarily with students from the Charlotte area, as well as anyone outside of the United States. I'm so excited to share just a little bit about what it looks like to study in the USA with you today. And Karen, you can take it away.
Sorry about that little technical difficulty. I will reshare my screen and introduce myself. Oh, Cathy, are you sharing?
I am, yes.
Great. Okay. Well then, all right, I'm up. Hello, my name is Karen. I am the Assistant Director of International Student and Scholar Services and Outreach at Appalachian State University. I work with international students from the time that they are admitted and need assistance with their visa. So I will help with the visa paperwork. And then once the students are here on campus, I will assist with orientation and student support services. So international students at Appalachian will get to know me from before they arrive all the way until they graduate. So I love getting to work with our international students.
That's amazing. As you can see, we have brought all the right people. They will brief you what's going to happen after you reach there, how you should prepare yourself. Before start of the session, I would love to thank Rebecca from Appalachian State University. She helped us with coordinating and organizing this event. Thank you, Rebecca, so much. Cathy, David, and Karen, I'm leaving this session on your shoulder. Please run with the show. I'll be in the backside. If you need me, I'll be there, but it's all your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Well, before we talk about our individual universities, our specific universities, I thought that we would give an overview of studying in the U.S. in general, because there's a lot to think about. So in the U.S., there are thousands of universities, so choosing can be quite overwhelming. There are large universities, medium universities, small universities. There are institutions located in large cities, in small towns, everything in between. They have different majors, so depending on what you wish to study, you may be looking at different institutions. So it's really important for every student who wants to come and study in the US to do their research. What sort of environment would you thrive in? What do you want to study? And then also to look at admissions criteria. Is a school very selective and maybe difficult to get into, in which case you may want to apply to more universities to have more options, or perhaps you know that you would be a good candidate for the school that you're interested in. In any case, it is I think it's common for students to apply to several universities. My advice would be to think about the factors that are important to you, research universities that fit those criteria. Again, location, major, costs, do you have the admissions criteria to be accepted to those universities, etc. And then when you find that list, make sure that it's a list of several universities. It's never a good idea to just apply to one. You don't have as many options that way. Apply to several. It could be 3, 5, 7. I've seen some students apply to as many as 11 or 12, but that's a lot. And apply early as well. Students often have maybe more advantages by applying early, and one of those advantages can be perhaps a better chance of scholarships or other funding. So do your research and apply early, I think, are my biggest takeaways from this slide. So, okay, so once you have figured out which universities to apply to, you'll start researching the application requirements for each of those institutions. And you will find many common things with all of the universities that you're interested in. They will all have some kind of online application process. So you'll need to do the online application form. That'll be the first thing to do. They will all require your transcripts, your grades from the education institutions that you have attended. So from your high school, secondary school, if you are looking at graduate schools here in the US, you'll need to send your transcripts from your bachelor's degree. The institutions that you are applying to may or may not require essays or personal statements. It's very likely that they will. So it is a good idea to have a personal statement ready that tells us about you. You know, what are you interested in? What is your background? Why would you be a good fit for this university? And then you can change this or tweak your essay depending on the schools that you apply to and exactly what they ask for. There will most likely be an application fee that you will have to pay with the online application. And the amount could vary, though. You may see as low as 30 or 40 US dollars. You may see some that are as high as 80 or 90 US dollars or anything in between. But most online applications will have some kind of fee. And at many institutions, it is possible to apply for a fee waiver for students that qualify. So many institutions will require some kind of exam, such as the SAT or ACT if you're looking at undergraduate programs, or perhaps the GMAT or the GRE if you are looking for graduate programs, a master's degree. Now, not every institution will require test scores. More and more universities are becoming test optional, but many still do require them. So this is part of your research. Once you know which universities you wish to apply to, make sure that you research the application requirements. Do they require tests? Have you taken those tests? English proficiency is another thing that you will most likely need to demonstrate. The TOEFL and the IELTS have traditionally been the most commonly accepted English proficiency tests, but there are others now that are becoming, more and more popular, such as Duolingo, which Appalachian has started accepting. And then there may be other applications as well. For example, like scholarships or honors programs, or maybe specific academic programs. So again, this is all part of what you need to research. All right. So next, let's talk about the admissions cycle. So we've talked about some of the things that you may encounter in the application process, but when should you start to do this? I would recommend early. So your first step after researching what institutions you wish to apply to is to actually apply. And I would say that it is common for students to apply anywhere between 6 to 12 months before the term that they plan to start. 9 months is perhaps, you know, the most common time. So for example, if you are interested in starting at a university in August of 2022, so in about a year from now, right now is a really good time to be doing your research. And then perhaps in September, October, that is the time to actually apply. You can apply later at many universities. We will all have slightly different deadlines. So that's part of your research. You need to find out exactly when those deadlines are. But it's likely that first rounds of deadlines will be October, November, December, around then. And then there will be, you know, other chances to apply, perhaps February, March, April, but really you are at an advantage if you apply early. So apply early. Once the university has all of your application materials, we will review them to see if you are a good fit for our university. Most academically, certainly, but also in other ways as well. We will review your essays, you know, to see your background and your interests and your passions. So once we make a decision, hopefully, you know, it will be a positive one. The university will send you the admissions decision to let you know whether you have been accepted or not. If you are accepted, then it's a good idea to wait and see the decisions from all the universities to which you are applying, and then you accept the one which you want to attend. So let's say you apply to 8 universities. 4 of them accept you. You have to choose one. And it's best to do that by May 1st if you wish to start in August. And then you need to request an I-20 from that university. And this will look quite different at different universities, so it is best to be in touch with their international office. So at my university, at Appalachian State University, for example, I'm the person that you would be in touch with. I will, if you're accepted, I would send you the instructions for how to do the I-20 request. You follow the instructions, and then I will send you the I-20. The I-20 is the document that you need in order to apply for your F1 student visa. So it's very important because you would not be able to enter the United States to study without the I-20 in order to get your visa. All right. So there, in this new era that we are facing, post-pandemic, but maybe not post. We're still in it. So things have very much changed, and they have changed in many different ways. So here I'll talk about, you know, how things are changing with regards to applications at universities around the U.S. So, you know, the first thing is more and more institutions are going test optional. So, you know, I talked about the ACT, SAT for at the undergraduate level, perhaps GMAT or GRE or others at the graduate level. There are more institutions that are making these optional now. Not all of them, so check. But at some institutions, they are optional. If you do take them and you have great scores, go ahead and send them to the institutions, even if it's optional, because it may be something very helpful. There are now more English proficiency testing options. Like I mentioned that Duolingo is something that Appalachian newly accepts. So we didn't used to. And then when the pandemic rolled around, it was something that we looked into and decided to accept because it is more accessible and easy for students to take from their own homes. They don't have to go to a testing center to take the TOEFL or IELTS, which may be closed. So it's more accessible and a little cheaper, honestly. So there are other examples of English proficiency exams as well, but there are just more options in this area. More institutions have become flexible about their application deadlines. So you're just finding more rolling applications, which you can just do without having to think about a particular deadline. But my message of apply early does not change. So that is still key. And one of the biggest things for students to keep in mind right now is that visas are unfortunately much more difficult to obtain. I mean, they weren't necessarily easy beforehand, but now there are visa delays. It is taking much longer to obtain visas. Universities are seeing that there is a higher denial rate. So if you do get accepted to a university, please request that I-20 quickly. And then as soon as you get the I-20, go ahead and make that visa appointment. Actually, this is another great reason why you should apply as early as you can. If you can apply 12, 11, 10 months before your start date, hopefully this would give you 5, 6, 7 months to apply for your visa appointment. So I can't stress enough, please apply as early as you can. And even in that case, if you are not able to obtain your visa in time for the start date that you want, at many institutions, it's possible to defer. So let the international office and the admissions office know, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to get my visa. Can you push my start date 1 semester back so I can continue trying to apply for the visa? And many institutions will work with you and will continue, we'll continue working with you so that you can come a little bit later than you intended. But hopefully that won't happen to you, but just to let you know that these days, we are seeing a lot of students having to defer due to visas, but they can eventually get here. All right, so now I'd like to jump into talking about our specific universities. So you may be wondering where Appalachian State University and where East Carolina University are located. We are both in North Carolina. We're both large public universities for the state of North Carolina. And North Carolina is on the east coast of the US. I would say that we are between New York and Florida. So yep, that's where we are. So the next slide is specifically a map of North Carolina, so you can see where we are located within our state. So ECU is much closer to the beach, to the ocean, over on the east side of the state. And then Appalachian is over on the western side of the state. Very different location. We are in the mountains. And we're both located not in huge cities, in kind of small to medium-sized university towns. So there's very much a university feel. You're just surrounded by students in these towns. So both lovely locations, but quite different even within the same state. And with that, Cathy, I think I will turn it over to you to talk about East Carolina University.
Thank you. So I am happy to be here today to talk to you about East Carolina, but also studying in the US and then in North Carolina as a whole. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of our institution. We are what we would call a comprehensive university. So we have undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral degrees. I'll start with undergraduate. There are 87 bachelor's degree programs, and the most popular among our international students are business, biology, and computer science. Our admissions process we like to make as easy as we can, meeting our requirements, but for you all to move through that process. So we do have an online application. We accept the Common App. We also have our own application, so you can choose which one works best for you. There is an application fee. We require your secondary school transcript in English, and then English proficiency exam score. We accept Duolingo English test, IELTS, or TOEFL. You only need to submit one of those. The SAT and ACT have always been optional for international students, and currently we are not requesting at all with the ongoing pandemic. We do rolling deadlines for our applications. However, if students want to be considered for honors college, they must apply to the university by December 1st. The admissions team will review for eligibility to the honors college, and if the applicant is eligible, they will be invited to complete a supplemental application. Just at this point, as we discuss deadlines, I want to reiterate Karen's point about giving yourself an adequate amount of time. I would say, as she said, a good 9 to even 12 months in advance, because it's not just the application and then applying for your student visa, but you will also have a variety of enrollment steps to take with the university, such as finding housing or securing your on-campus housing, registering for classes. So we try to advise students to apply for the visa early and give themselves time to work through enrollment steps so they're not so stressed, because this is a big change in your life, to pack everything into a few suitcases and move to a country that you may never have even visited before. And the last point is the total cost for undergraduate studies is $39,000 per year. That includes tuition, housing, student fees, health insurance, transportation, incidentals. There are some scholarship options. The largest of those awards will be through the Honors College, and then otherwise they are fairly small scholarship awards, about $1,000 to $5,000 US. So now I'll talk about the graduate school. There are 60 certificate programs, 70 master's degree programs, and 13 research doctoral degree programs. Graduate admissions is different in that you apply to the department and the program specifically. So at the undergraduate level, you apply to the university, and then at the graduate level, you are applying to a program. So you may, you may apply to programs at multiple universities, or you may decide to apply to 3 different programs at one university. There is an online application and an application fee. They are going to require a course-by-course evaluation of your undergraduate degree transcript. They also require English proficiency, which can be shown through Duolingo English test, IELTS, TOEFL, or the Pearson PTE Pearson test. The GRE and GMAT are one of those tests flexible. It depends on the program. Many programs are moving away from requiring these, but that is an excellent question to ask of program directors. They're also going to require a statement of purpose, your resume or CV, and letters of recommendation. Deadlines, again, are program specific. So it's very important in terms of graduate admissions to connect with program directors. I'm a great resource for institutional knowledge, but in terms of program specific knowledge, that's going to be a program director. The cost for graduate school is $38,000 US per year. Again, that is a total cost. So tuition, fees, housing, health insurance, etc. The graduate school does have out-of-state tuition waivers, which reduces the rate of tuition down significantly. And they have assistantships available through individual programs. Assistantships are when you are offered a job on campus. So it may be a research post, a teaching post, or a general graduate assistantship where you're in an office supporting an office. And those are for pay and considered a financial award. I briefly discussed this as I was talking, but at the undergraduate level, we do have scholarships through the Honors College as well as general university scholarships. For Honors College, you must apply to the university by December 1. And for general university scholarships, you have to be accepted first to the university and then apply for scholarships by January 15th. In the graduate school, they have general university scholarships as well with a deadline of January 15th. And then out-of-state tuition waivers and graduate assistantships are going to be available through the specific program to which you are applying. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to David to talk about Appalachian State.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Cathy. So a lot of things you're going to hear from me are a little bit similar, but I am so excited to talk to you about, one, just continue this conversation of studying the U.S., but also just really kind of talking about what life is like here in the Blue Ridge Mountains at Appalachian State University. So Appalachian State has over 18,000 undergraduate students, and we have a total campus population of over 20,000 students. So we are one of the largest schools in the UNC system, and we are just really excited to invite students to come here and learn with us and engage with us and get to explore studying here in the States. So as far as undergraduate admissions goes, we do require an application, and we unfortunately only have one application, and that is through the Common App. So you would go to www.commonapp.org and you can apply there. We do require English translated transcripts. We do our own evaluations in-house, so there's no need for you to submit your transcripts if they are just secondary. So you don't have to submit those to get evaluated by anyone. We will do those in-house. You also required to complete an essay of 200 to 500 words, and you would do that through the Common App. Common App offers over five or six different essay topics that you can choose from, and you can do those there. And then there is a $65 application fee that you will pay through the Common App. We require English proficiency scores. We do accept the TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo. So you are in no way required to choose either one of these. Any particular one, you can do whichever one is most convenient to you and your family. We do love Duolingo because this is super easy for you to do that from the comfort of your home and not have to worry about going to a testing center or anything like that. Appalachian State, we have really hard deadlines, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of wiggle room here. So if you plan to apply for scholarships, you must apply by November the 1st, and this is our most common time to apply. But we also offer rolling admissions. But just keep in mind that if you choose to wait, then you will not be considered for most of our scholarships. There are still some scholarships you can be considered for that you will apply for after once the new year begins. But for our main big important ones, you have to apply to Appalachian State before November the 1st. The total cost of attendance for students is $33,237. This does include your housing, a standard room, a standard meal plan, all of your textbooks, and most of your fees. So if you need to go rent books from the library, or if you need to go and take the Apple Cart or anything like that, the Apple Cart is a bus system that we have here on campus. It will take you to the Walmart, to like the grocery store, or to like community stores and things like that in the area. I'm your admissions rep, so you can welcome to email me at admissions@appstate.edu, and I will answer your questions in a timely manner. So we can go to the next slide. Appalachian State offers a plethora of different opportunities, and that does include graduate admissions as well. So students can apply to come here and do a graduate program. We have an online application that you just go to our website and apply there. You are required to submit your transcripts from the college you attended, to an evaluation company. So they must be a NACIS approved organization. Typically, we prefer Spantron. So they are a super easy company to work with, and they offer discounted rates for evaluations for our students. So you can do that there. So you must get transcripts evaluated. We will need, I think they need your high school transcripts as well. And then, of course, there is an essay you have to complete, and there is a fee for the application. For the test, for English proficiency test, they only take the TOEFL and IELTS. They do not take the Duolingo test for that exam. The GRE, GMAT, and MAT testing are required, and waivers are available to help pay for those exams for you. Also, if you have a 3.0 GPA, you can place out of having to take the exam for a lot of things. And you can send your scores just to processing at appstate.edu. So you can send those directly to us. We do not require that they come directly from your site. It just must have your picture and your name on it to be official. The total cost of attendance for our graduate program varies. So it depends on what that program is that you're doing. So, for example, a business degree may cost a little bit more than getting a counseling degree. But for any more questions, our graduate team is happy to answer your questions if you email gradadmissions@appstate.edu. And I mentioned that there are some scholarship opportunities available to you. So, fun fact is that we have grown our scholarships over the last year for our international students, and we are super excited to help tackle the financial barriers that your family may have. So if you want to apply for scholarships, as I mentioned previously, you must apply by November the 1st. And so we offer the Chancellor Scholarship. We offer the Willie Fleming Diversity Scholarship. And we're really excited that we offer the Chancellor Scholarship, which is a full tuition scholarship. So that does cover your fees. Also, it covers your room and board. So it's a really great scholarship opportunity to help bring you to the States and offer you awesome opportunities. Also, our Honors College offers a scholarship that is specific to only international students. So you get to be an international honor scholar. And then also, from Karen's department, we offer scholarships from our International Studies department. So they are OID scholarships, and those applications will open up in like March-ish. So you will need to complete those by the end of March, and a decision will be released for you by April-ish. So definitely there's so many opportunities. Our graduate school also offers scholarships, fellowships, and assistantships. So what's really cool is that as a graduate student, you can actually work for an office on campus. For like a work study where you kind of work and get paid to help pay for your education here. So really cool opportunities exist like that for our graduate students. There's so many things happening at App State, and I'm kind of giving you like a little quick synopsis of that. If you have any other questions, as I mentioned, I am happy to answer your questions. Just shoot me an email at admissions@appstate.edu.
David, we've actually had a question. How can students send TOEFL scores to the university, and is there a way to do that for free?
Yeah, totally. We offer some fee waivers for the Duolingo test. We do not offer fee waivers for the TOEFL or for IELTS, but sending those scores to us is free. You can just literally take a screenshot of that, email it to us at processing@appstate.edu. So that's just the word processing@appstate.edu, and you can send it to us.
And so just to address that more broadly, so TOEFL, which is administered through Educational Testing Service, ETS, they do not have a free option to send official scores to institutions. You do have to submit your request through ETS, and there is a fee. IELTS, there is a way that you can send a PDF report of your IELTS, and the institution can check an internal portal to verify your scores. And then Duolingo, you are able to send unlimited number of scores to any institution that accepts Duolingo, and there is no additional cost. So that's to help you understand the different testing options and how to send those scores.
And so rolling admissions is a super cool process. It's basically colleges are taking your application up until the first day of classes. But this is a little weirder, different for international students. Just keep in mind that you do have some extra enrollment steps that you have to do, like Karen mentioned, with your I-20. So I just recommend that if you're even going to consider rolling admissions, you still submit your application to your colleges by. So if you're going to, and you guys can chime in on this too if you want to. If you're planning to come for the fall, I will try to have your application submitted by June-ish, maybe the beginning of June. And if you plan to come for the spring, I would definitely try to have your application submitted by September or October. And Karen and Kathy, you can tell me if you think that's bogus.
Yeah. Yeah, rolling admission is interesting because if a school says they have rolling admission, so you don't really have like a strict deadline, and the university will review your application as it comes in, even if it comes in late. But having said that, for international students, I still recommend applying as early as you can because, well, for several reasons. You have more advantages when it comes to being admitted and potentially getting scholarships if you apply early. And then also with visas, sure, you can apply in June and potentially be accepted, but can you get your visa in time to come for August if you apply in June? And the answer is probably not. So even if the institution says that it has rolling admission, it really is best to apply like around September, October, if you plan on attending the next August. You have more advantages in the application process, and you have enough time, hopefully, to get the visa.
And just to put that into a frame of reference, the wait time to request a visa interview appointment in DACA is currently 50 calendar days. So you could submit a request today, and it would be 50 calendar days from now is the earliest that they would give you a visa interview appointment.
Yeah.
So we are advising this based on actual information, not just because we want you to apply earlier. This is really to help you navigate the visa application process and then the enrollment steps without becoming overwhelmed.
Yeah. In our case, we have seen Bangladeshi students over the past 2 years have to wait quite a long time. And even once they are able to schedule the visa interview, the visa interview is often for 4, 5, 6 months into the future. So in one case, even longer. So it really is to your advantage to apply as early as you can.
We've also received a question about differences between early action, early decision, regular decision.
Yeah. So the opposite of rolling admission.
So early action is applying early. You are stating your intent. It is not considered binding. Early decision is, again, applying early, but you are saying to the university, if you accept me, I am coming to your institution, and it is a binding decision. Regular decision is going to be a normal deadline, so all students. So the main difference that I want you to take away from this is if you apply early decision and the university offers you a space, you have committed to that university. David, do you have anything to add to that?
Perfect.
So typically for a time frame, early action and early decision deadlines are going to be in October or November. And then regular decision deadlines are going to be maybe February to March, early March. Are we ready to move on? Oh, sorry. Okay. So Karen and I are going to talk to you a little bit about English language learning and support. So whether you need intensive English or need English support, we're going to talk to you about those two topics, and I'll let Karen start.
Are you able to share your screen?
Oh, I don't know. There we go.
All right. So yes, at Appalachian, we have an English Language Institute, which we call APPLES or AppELS. And there are several ways that APPLES can support you if you need that extra help with the English language, particularly for academic purposes. If you are interested in intensive English, for one semester or longer, you can enroll full-time in APPLES, work intensively on your academic English, and then enroll in either an undergraduate or graduate program. However, there are other possibilities as well. If you wish to enroll directly in your undergraduate degree program, but may need a little bit of additional support with English at the same time, there are shorter programs being offered through APPLES. So there's options, and we would certainly welcome you to be a part of it. So Cathy, what about ECU?
So we also offer a full-time intensive English program for students who either need to learn English completely or would like to improve their English before they enter a degree program. So that is going to be a full-time program in English. However, beyond that, once you're in a degree program, either undergraduate or graduate, the intensive English program also offers supplemental classes. So let's say, for example, you are not confident in your writing skills. You can actually take a writing class with the intensive English program at no cost to you while you are in your degree program to improve your writing skills. So that's a benefit that this program offers to degree students that we think is a really nice thing to help you all be successful in your degree programs. So before we move on to kind of what studying during COVID and in the COVID era is like, we've had a few questions that are still related to admissions and financial aid. So one of those is if an applicant can apply to as many early action options as they want. And the answer is yes. Early action is not a binding decision. So that is just you being very proactive. So you can apply to as many early action as you would like. Another question we've had is, international students need financial aid the most. Can we explain more about financial aid and I think how you can market yourself as a good candidate for financial aid. So I'll start on this one, and David, you can hop in. It's definitely going to be different at the undergraduate and graduate level. So at the undergraduate level, I would suggest that you focus on your experience so far and how that has impacted your goals for the future and why this institution is a good fit for you in accomplishing your goals in the future. applying for undergraduate studies at 17 or 18 or 19 years old, we understand that your experience is limited based on the number of years you have lived. So this is going to be more about your academic success so far and what you would like to accomplish in the future. For graduate students, financial support is going to rely more heavily on your academic and professional experience and your interests as it relates to the program. So for example, if there's a particular research topic that a faculty member in that program works on and you admire their work and the research that they've done, those are going to be important points for you to make in graduate studies and in your application process, but also in your funding request. I will say that funding is challenging in that it is very competitive. Everybody wants funding, from American students to international students. And so the earlier that you can apply for your program and your funding, the better chances that you have. And the more clearly you can articulate why that institution and why that program is the best fit for you, is going to help you in making your case. Public and private institutions have different funding models. So this goes back to Karen's very first overview of higher education. Public universities in the US are funded through taxes that we pay. And there are not as many scholarship opportunities as private institutions have. And private universities are funded through tuition and donors. So public institutions do have donors. I don't want to get too in the weeds, it gets very complicated, but my greatest suggestion to you would be to look at your offers for admission, look at your financial aid offers and compare them side by side and look at what the total cost to you is going to be. Because let's say App State offers you admission and their total cost is $33,000 US, and they offer you a $3,000 scholarship. Your total responsible is $30,000 US. And then you receive another offer from a private institution whose tuition is $50,000. They've offered you $10,000. So it's a bigger scholarship, but ultimately you're responsible for $40,000. The total cost to you is what you really need to be critically analyzing as you get your offers. Would anyone like to contribute to that?
I think that was beautifully put. Yeah, the main thing is apply early. Check the universities that you're interested in to see if they have separate scholarship applications, or if it's just wrapped up into the one main admissions application. Apply to several universities. Don't just rely on one, but apply to several and then compare the bottom line. That's I think really the main thing. And keep in mind that different universities will cost different amounts. Some will be more expensive than others, and some will offer larger scholarships than others.
So then I want to address this question of, if my medium of instruction was English for 12 years, does the applicant need to submit an English proficiency exam? And will this affect their application? Sorry.
I mean, that really depends. You may want to double check with the universities that you're applying to. In a case like this, would they still be strict and require English proficiency exams? They might. For example, Appalachian would be likely to say, yes, absolutely. You have to do it, but the Duolingo test is easily accessible and not as expensive as the others, for example. But there may be some universities that will say, no, your transcripts will suffice for this purpose. So ask your admissions counselor.
And to add on to that, we at East Carolina, we do waive English proficiency in certain scenarios. And this example would be one of those scenarios. If your medium of instruction throughout secondary school is English, and we can confirm that information from the school, we will waive the English proficiency exam requirement. But the biggest point that Karen made is every institution is going to have people like us who are your admissions counselors. We are the expert in this area. And so, and we also exist to support you through your application and admission process. So utilize us, email us, contact us in whatever method is available, and ask your questions. Be sure you understand the answers. This is literally why we have jobs.
Yeah, I mean, that is such a great point, Cathy. Thank you for saying that. So not only are the admissions counselors at the universities a great source of information for you, and you should ask these questions, whenever you have them, but also this is a great person to get to know, your admissions counselor. If you get to know them, if you ask them good questions, if you make sure that they know that you are someone who is very interested and would be a great fit for your university, and this person knows you maybe through email, or maybe you've attended, their admissions events, that admissions counselor is much more likely to fight for you in the admissions review, because they know, oh my gosh, this person has been contacting me. They are responsible about their application. They are really interested in coming here. So this is just, strategically, this is a good person for you to get to know, because they are likely to advocate for you in the admissions process. So please take advantage of that.
And I would even extend that beyond the admissions process to some enrollment steps. We are the advocates if there needs to be flexibility with or some sort of communication liaison with student health, with campus housing, with academic advisors for course registration. If we have a relationship with you and you have expressed sincere interest in coming to our institution, we are much more likely to put in the extra hours to get you what you need. Not that we're playing favorites, but we deal with hundreds of applicants a year. So at some point in our workload, we have to say, okay, this person is very interested. This person, not so much. One other question related to admissions or the application process is if the applicant should submit their English proficiency with their application, or if they can do it a bit later. My answer to that is going to be, you can submit it later, but your application will not be reviewed until it is considered complete. And a complete application includes all supporting documentation. Your transcript, your test scores, everything we need to evaluate you for our admission criteria. Otherwise, your application will remain pending until we have those documents. Anything else to contribute to that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can do it at the same time, or you can do it later, but you won't be reviewed until it's all complete.
Yeah, and if you already, especially if you're going to send your English translated transcript, I will go ahead and try to attach all that as a package deal with your transcript and with your test scores, so that way you know that you've done everything on your end.
Okay, so continue to pop your questions into the comments. We are going to move on to studying in the COVID era. Karen, would you like to take it away?
Sure. Yeah, there have been some changes now that the pandemic is still going on. In the case of the US, many universities are kind of, I don't want to say returning to normal, but trying to find a perhaps new normal for moving forward. And so many of the universities that were only offering online classes during the past year are now back open and offering in-person classes, or maybe a combination. And our on-campus housing residence halls are open again, and student clubs are meeting, and activities and events are happening. However, they are in many cases happening a bit different. There are more rules and regulations about things like social distancing and masks being required. It will be different in every state and even within universities, but in general, students need to be wearing masks. As you can see in this photo, students are spread more farther apart than usual, and they are all wearing masks, and students have to wear masks in the classrooms. Vaccines are starting to be required at some institutions, but not all. For us at Appalachian, they are not required, but very strongly encouraged. And our university is offering vaccine clinics, so we want to get the students vaccinated. In our case, we had a quarantine period for international students arriving, through airports. I don't know if that will be required going forward, but that may be a requirement at some institutions. So that's something to think about. Health services offices at various campuses are really busy now. They have a lot to deal with, vaccines and COVID testing. So these things are available. So we encourage students to just make use of them. So, Cathy, I'm interested. Are things a little different at ECU?
No, not much so. Pretty similar. Required to wear masks inside, including all lectures. Faculty and staff are required to wear masks as well when we are inside, unless we are in a room by ourselves. We did also have a quarantine period. We will not know the expectations for 2022 until later this year. We are not requiring vaccines, but they are strongly encouraged and available to everyone. And unvaccinated students may require regular testing throughout the semester if they choose not to be vaccinated. So I would say it's very, very similar to what Karen has mentioned, and it does require a measure of flexibility from us and also from you all as we navigate the changes and communicate that to students for arrival periods. Okay, so we've only got a few slides left about student support, and then we'll go back to the questions about admissions. So Karen, would you like to take it away here?
Sure. So let's see. Our next slide is about student support that we offer for international students. Cathy, are you able to share? I'm not seeing the screen.
Sorry. Okay, it is sharing. I'll wait till the screen changes up, but I'll go ahead and start if that's okay.
There we go. Perfect. So yes. So whatever university you attend will have an international office, and they are there to help you, to provide support in a lot of different ways. Now, not every international office will offer the same support. This can be different at different universities, but there will be some things in common. For example, every international office should offer some kind of orientation for international students, which is very important. We will all offer support with visas. So we will be the office that is issuing you the I-20 and giving you information about how to apply for your student visa. We will provide advising in a number of ways. At App, you will have an academic advisor that is separate, who is advising you about your classes and what you need to do in your major. But we will offer advising about everything else. So if you have questions or concerns at any point in your college career, you can come to our office. And if we can't help you, we can connect you with whoever can. There's a lot of work and career support services that we offer. For example, students who need work authorization to work off campus, either an internship like while you are still studying, or it could be your OPT work authorization for the year after you graduate. So that all goes through our office. Some things that are particular to Appalachian, we actually pick students up at the airport. Some universities will do that, some will not, and it generally depends on how far they are from the airport, I think. But we are quite far, so we actually pick up students from the airport and bring them to campus, and that service is free. We offer a number of cultural programs and events throughout the year, every year, that we would welcome you to be a part of. And then we do have programs to connect you with other students and local families in the area, just so that you can get to know people and really be integrated into the community. Because we do want you to come and of course, academics are your priority. Your classes, your majors, studying, that's really what you are here for. But students who feel that they are connected to their community and their university usually are the most successful. So without overwhelming yourself, we want you to participate, to make friends, to join clubs, to explore your new area. In our case, we're up in the mountains and it's a beautiful place. So perhaps join the hiking club or something similar. But we do want you to get connected, and our office will offer a lot of ways that you can do that. So yeah, Cathy, I'd love to hear about some of the particular support services that ECU offers.
Yeah. So some similarities to what Karen mentioned: airport shuttles, international student orientation, all advising related to your student visa and the work authorizations, curricular practical training, and optional practical training available through your visa, as well as cultural events. We like to highlight some specific American things like pumpkin carving in the fall around our Halloween holiday. We've also done a ghost storytelling in the past, as well as connecting you to other international students and domestic students and just our community. To reiterate what Karen shared, it's really important that you obviously get the academic support and success that you are looking for, but that you go beyond that in stretching yourself in the social setting. And that could also include working on campus or internships, things like that, that we are able to help you navigate those cultural scenarios, which can be easier and harder for some people. Specifically, we have a career preparation series that is designed for students to go through a 5-series seminar. It's an interactive seminar just going over how to write a resume, a cover letter, mock interviews. Applying for jobs is very culturally specific, and so this series is meant for international students to understand how to best prepare themselves for going through those tasks, especially with optional practical training in mind, so that you are successful in finding a position. So our last slide is just a contact us slide, if that can be shown, and we will go back to answering the questions. We received a question of the school doesn't have any previous transcripts, only the secondary school certificate exam. So this is going to be very university specific in terms of how they are evaluating the admission criteria. So for example, at ECU, if you have a national exam requirement, that is what we need to see to be able to fully admit you into the university. If you are still in secondary school and will sit the national exam, we can admit you with the understanding that we need your national exam at the end, and we will do a second review. Other schools may request to see all of your coursework throughout secondary school. It really is very university dependent. And so I'd love to hear from David if you all have a different method.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah.
There
you go, Karen.
Oh, no, I was just going to say similar, but it is, if you can obtain as records of your studies, of your grades in some way, shape, or form, in addition to your exam scores, it can be helpful because some schools may want this. And so if it's something that's possible to obtain, that can be helpful. But if you do have your official exam results, that is likely to suffice for many schools as well. And if that's the case, you may consider doing like as many of the as many optional admission criteria as you can. You know, for example, if it's optional to take the SAT or ACT, this can provide a little extra information if you go ahead and do those optional things. But again, it depends very much on the institution. You'll get a different answer from every school, I'm sure.
Which just goes back to our point that connection with people like me and David and even Karen is crucial for your application process. Do we have other questions?
All right. I think we're done with the questions. I mean, thank you so much, Karen, Cathy, and David. I cannot thank you enough for this amazing session. I was glued to the whole session. I was my headphone on and I was listening to it. And to prove that students were enjoying, they were also staying like till the end. So it was very engaging. Amazing information, helpful information, all were there. And thank you for sharing your contact address. I believe they will reach out to you if they're required. I would love to thank again Rebecca, Karen, Cathy, David for being here, being for Bangladeshi students. I hope that you get some applications, and when things are normal, our welcome to you to visit Bangladesh. We'll be happy to host you again. So thank you so much and have a great day. Stay safe, take care, and thanks to the whole Advice team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yep. Thank you. It was our pleasure. We enjoyed this, and yeah, we look forward to receiving applications from all you students in the future.